Hey, good morning, everyone. We are back here at the Veritas Project headquarters, deep beneath the earth, just outside of St. Louis, Missouri, in the Lennon Library. And welcome back to the podcast. And you're wondering, who are these two guys on my screen? Well, right here is the walking Wikipedia of the weird, the man with the best wardrobe in the paranormal business, and most importantly, our gracious host and founder of the Veritas Project, Robert Curtis.
Hello.
And I am investigator Todd Boyer. And welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, welcome.
Oh, you finally get a holiday weekend. You're off for the whole weekend.
I know, it's unbelievable.
No hurry this morning.
It's like a regular person.
It's like a regular person. So since it is Memorial Day weekend, we decided that we were going to talk about some of the most famous quote-unquote soldier hauntings.
Soldier hauntings, right.
So, and there is...
there's a lot.
There's a lot.
We narrowed it down to 5, and then we figured we'd just rabbit hole off of that.
Yeah.
I have ghost stories from when I was in the military that I can talk about, and then I'm sure Todd does too. So
yeah. Well, I don't know if I really have ghost stories, but definitely had some feelings of some gnarliness in different areas. You know, because once again, it's all about the feelings in an area and the emotional energy. So.
Yeah.
You know, I know that most of the barracks, most of the basic training barracks and stuff, have an eerie feeling to them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so much emotion in there, you know.
It's...
People's first time, soldiers' first times away from home.
Oh, yeah.
They're away from their family. They don't have that support. They're 18 years old and they're completely by themselves for the first time. And they don't have a phone or anything you can access.
Mm-hmm.
You're just thrown into this whole big machine now, and you're it's quite a shock.
It's quite a shock. A culture shock for sure.
Yeah.
Make sure we move the mousy so we don't.
I know for me it was weird because I went to boot camp in San Diego, and I'm from, Illinois.
Right.
So the culture shock of just,
halfway across the country.
You're in a place, and then growing up in Illinois, everything is flat.
Yeah.
And there's no mountains at all here, or no ocean or nothing.
Right.
And then now you're in Southern California where there are mountains and an ocean, and you're like, wow, until you're standing on a beach and look out at nothing,
yeah.
as far as the curve of the earth in every direction, your mind can't comprehend how big the ocean really is. You know what I mean? It's a shock.
Right.
It's a big shock. And then growing up, you see people run into the ocean in commercials and stuff, and they're all like, yeah, having a good time. And then when you jump in the ocean for the first time, you're like, it is obscenely cold. Take your breath away cold, And
then you get stung by jellyfish, and then,
you got to try to swim wearing boots and carrying a rifle. And then, they
fun stuff.
Throw you off of a platform, and it's military stuff.
Military stuff. So, that's like Bob said, we actually have an intro over here on this screen here. So
how about that?
I'm going to go ahead and read that. With a history as old as the United States itself, there is no doubt that there are plenty of ghost stories from the U.S. military's almost 246 active years to keep you up at night. From watery graves to haunted houses, sites of battles and ghoulish residences of military leaders long gone are ripe for spiritual and sinister happenings. Here are 5 stories that'll chill you to your bones. So,
trying to kick you out.
Stop trying to kick me out.
The USS Hornet and its ghostly inhabitants. The USS Hornet and her crew served in World War II and the Vietnam War, achieving numerous awards for service and operations. She was also the prime recovery ship for the Apollo 11 and 12 missions. During her active years, 300 crew members died from accidents or suicides. Visitors on the ship's permanent location in San Francisco report hearing voices and seeing apparitions of soldiers. Sailors, probably.
Yeah.
Electronic equipment is also known to go haywire on board, now the host of ghost tours. The USS Hornet holds the title of the most haunted ship in America.
Now 300 seems like an awful lot, unless there was a battle, if it was in a battle of some sort. But that seems like an awful lot of deaths on one ship.
Right.
due to accidents or suicide. So they had to have been in a battle.
Right. It got like torpedoed or something like that, and people were injured. But I thought it says soldiers. Like,
right.
That kind of took me out of it. Sorry, when I was reading that, I'm like, why would there be soldiers on a ship?
Yeah, Marines.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
Marines aren't soldiers, though.
Marines are just Marines.
Right.
Yeah. So, with a situation like that, and once again, we're talking about a space where people are confined and live, and and under a lot of stress. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if a lot of battleships are haunted.
Yeah. Or at least with residual energy.
For sure, just thick with residual energy. So
I know I was on the USS Abraham Lincoln, and our berthing is like four beds stacked up, and then each one of the beds has a little shelf that you kind of like open up, like a trunk, and then all of your gear is stored under there. So you can imagine the space is only, like that big that you sleep in. You know what I mean? So you got
like sleeping in a coffin.
Yeah. You got all these people stuffed into a little area, and there's a lot of attitudes and people like, get on my face, or you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of that, and then
you have no personal space whatsoever.
Yeah, right. And then all of that angst builds up, and then you have to go, you use a shower, and the shower is like this little, like, hockey puck thing that you push the button on, and then it comes out for a minute, and then, that's all you get.
The button resets,
So you have to, like, it's miserable being on the ship. It's miserable. And I can understand why that would be a place where you would want to unalive yourself.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, in the Navy, you have, like, a 4-year contract.
Right.
You have to do 3 years at sea of the
Really?
contract. Yeah, and you only get the last, quarter of your contract where you're on land.
Wow.
But you have to do that first part of your contract out at sea. So if you were, like, a bosun's mate or somebody who just is basically a janitor, and you're out on the ship.
Oh, forget that, dude.
No. You mop and scrape paint and take out trash and just do, S work all day.
Yeah,
I can imagine how it would start to appeal to you after a while. You're like, man, maybe
Amy's racking up the corn for the Save a Butt Foundation. Thank you. Eventually we'll get rid of these chairs.
Right.
Our butts won't hurt so bad. So next we have the grave of the USS Arizona, which the USS Arizona was sank during the Battle of Pearl Harbor. It's a World War II naval ship, and it's the tomb for 1,102 sailors.
Right.
And they have a ghost in that area that they call Charlie, and he turns on faucets, he moves heavy doors. It's a friendly ghost. He just messes with stuff.
Right.
It's not anything malicious or anything. He just kind of likes to scare people. So, and then it says, during the bombing, there's soldiers see him on the deck, the ship at low tide and stuff.
Yeah.
So the ship is completely submerged. So.
Right.
So.
And
Robin says she wants to meet Charlie.
Yeah. The 1,100 people that perished on the ship. There's also a program that the Navy has where, if that was their duty station, the Arizona, when they pass away, they can be cremated, and then they'll take a ship out there and dump their cremains onto the Arizona. So the number of
so the survivors of the Arizona,
the survivors are also going back there.
Back to their shipmates.
Yeah.
Which is
really cool.
Which is really cool. So, I see some new faces popping into the live.
Yeah.
Welcome. We're recording our podcast for the week.
Yep. Putting it on the
YouTube, but we always go live for you guys.
Right. So you can interact with us once we're done with the.
All right. So.
Another nap.
Fort Leavenworth.
Yeah.
So this is actually a very old garrison, right? Fort Leavenworth, widely considered one of the most haunted posts in America. It's still active. That's actually where the big military jail is.
Right.
Like if you do bad things in the military, you get sent to Leavenworth. So they say that General George Armstrong Custer haunts this area. The general's residence was there, and they say he roams around his residence. But they also, say he haunts other places too. Right. So you never know. He didn't die there, but they say his spirit is there, which is a possibility because it could be a residual.
Right.
A residual haunting could be, a possibility where it plays back like a VCR. That's the residual hauntings. They don't pay any attention to you. For those that don't know the difference between a residual and intelligent, residual is like playing a VCR over and over again, and it's just the same thing over and over again. Like every Tuesday night, you might see the ghost walk through the hallway and into the living room.
And they
at the same time every Tuesday night. They don't interact with you. They don't.
Anything.
Yeah, it's just like watching, like watching a hologram or something, you know. So it's very possible that could be a residual haunting, if or the other ones,
Right.
One could be intelligent, the rest could be residual or all residual. So, they say that some of the buildings that his spirit haunts are more haunted than others. The Rookery at 14 Summer Place is considered one of the oldest and most haunted places. So the U.S. Army reports numerous incidents that have happened to the Rookery residents, including missing items, unexplained noises, spectral visitors, and more.
Yeah.
And one of those ghosts is also said to be a woman with long hair who attacks residents by clawing at them with her fingernails.
Right.
So this is all at Fort Leavenworth.
Yeah. Kansas.
So. Yep. So malicious woman haunting.
Yeah, in a army prison, you would.
If it was in the prison, then that's you'd think that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Also, on post there, the St. Ignatius Chapel, which has been rebuilt multiple times, and we all know what you guys we've talked to you guys tons of times. Anytime you do construction on a building, you're going to stir something up if there's something there. So it's been rebuilt multiple times due to fires, and a house now stands at the first location of the chapel, but residents have claimed to see the ghost of a young priest who died in a fire.
Right.
The rebuilt chapel has actually burned to the ground again in 2000.
Wow.
So kind of an interesting thing. Well, that's like we did... When I was with that other group, we did the investigation in Collinsville at the library, which had burned.
Okay.
And that was one of the most active places I've ever been in. Was the Collinsville library. So that was a good investigation that night.
Wow.
So.
Yeah. What do we got? The never-ending battle of Little Big Horn. I've heard a lot about this one actually. Though the Battle of Little Bighorn happened in 1873, present-day visitors to the battlefield claim they can still hear and see the spirits of U.S. Army soldiers as well as Native Americans fighting. Now a cemetery and a national monument, it is no surprise that this site of such death and violence is haunted by those who passed away there, including U.S. Army General George Armstrong Custer, which he was haunting Leavenworth too. Right, so they think maybe that this one is probably most likely residual haunting because of the soil composition of where the battlefield is, with granite and different stones that can retain psychical energies. So
right,
yeah, and I can imagine how many. You think of like a Civil War battlefields they're notoriously haunted.
Right, right,
and how much. Not just the loss of life, but the negative energies. How much concentrated
emotion just
in that area. It's unbelievable. And to this day, I still see at least once or twice a year where someone records horns, like battle horns, and
like bugles.
Bugles, yeah, like in.
They hear the charge, or
right. Like you can hear like clashing of like, wood on steel, kind of like bayonet charge type sounds, and you hear the horns and drums and stuff like that are recorded on battlefields all over America.
Well, now we have a place here. I believe it's Fort David, down in Pilot Knob.
Oh, right.
There was the big Battle of Pilot Knob down there, and that's a sectioned off. You can see where the fort is and all that.
Yeah.
And that's a place locally, and that down there is granite everywhere. You go further south in Missouri, guys, and the granite is literally like around here. You see some rocks or whatever, and there's soil and trees, whatever. But you go down to southern Missouri, like 90 miles south of here, and the granite is on top.
Right.
Like it literally sits on top. In fact, I was at a place the other day that I looked out in their backyard, and the backyard was so cool because they had a regular backyard. As soon as it got past their property line, it was nothing but granite boulders off into the hill, and it was so cool. It was so neat. I'm like, I want to go climb on those, And we have like Elephant Rock State Park, which is huge granite boulders, So like down south in that area where Pilot Knob is a lot of granite, and like Bob said, granite collects that psychic energy.
It stores it like a battery.
So a lot of that good ghostliness down there.
Yeah.
And around.
So they say, the Stone House, a late 19th century cemetery caretaker's home located at Little Bighorn, is home to many apparitions, including mutilated soldiers and headless cavalrymen. The Crow tribe called those that lived in this house during the 1800s the ghost herders. They saw the flag and the flag that the caretakers raised and lowered as a signal for the spirits to come out at dusk and return to their graves at dawn. Yeah, that's stupid.
Little gnat. Got right in my face.
Right. So the Crow Indians would say that when they would raise the flag up in the morning, that was like your sign to knock it off, and then when they put it down at night, it was like
their sign to come out and haunt.
Yeah. Love
it.
And on the base I was stationed at the longest, El Toro, which has now been bulldozed, it was the same kind of scenario. The older buildings were right there by the main gate, like with the long drive with the palm trees and everything. And they would say the same thing. Like the spirits would wait until taps, when they lowered the flag down and played taps. So that was when it was like their green light to start causing shenanigans. So everybody who worked in those old 100-year-old buildings right there, as soon as taps played, they were out the door. So
and there's a lot of old military buildings out there because tearing something down literally takes an act of Congress.
Oh yeah, on a base.
So because it's military property, it actually takes a lot to get something even torn down that's been there for years and years.
Yeah.
And they'll keep it up.
Right.
Like they won't let it crumble.
Oh, no,
they'll keep making sure it's good to go. It's a good building, whatever. Army Corps engineers will go out there and make sure the walls are structurally sound and everything, and they'll keep these. Even if the building's been empty for 30 years, they'll make sure that building is a functional building. If they ever need to use it, they can use it.
There's still somebody with a checklist, in their shop, and like every week or every
month
so many
or whatever.
days or whatever, they get that checklist out and they go out, unlock that old building, and they'll walk through there, flip the light switches on, and turn on the faucets and flush the toilet, and then lock it back up again. The military, especially in general, they live for that kind of stuff. Like
now,
there's a checklist for everything.
Now, something that goes along with that is we have something here right outside of Eureka. Right now, it's a wolf sanctuary, but it used to be where they stored the ammunition.
Oh yeah.
So you go out there and there's bunkers, like every quarter mile, half mile. There's a bunker in the ground, and there is tons of them. Yeah. There's like 30 or 40 of them out there. Where they just literally, it's like a Quonset hut with the curved roof inside, and they just stored ammo in them.
Right. And now trees have grown up
all around. You can't even find them unless they keep the path to the doorway clear.
Yeah.
But if you're not looking, you'll drive right by them and not even see them.
And it's so cool when you go up to it because there's like a little gravel drive, and then there's these huge steel doors, and there's just nothing but like rainwater in there.
Yeah, they don't take care of them now like the military used to.
No.
So, but they have electricity. Every one of them.
Does it really?
Yeah, every one of them has electricity. So then our last one here. This one's actually 5. It's literally, so it takes me 12 minutes to get to Bob's house. This one is literally between mine and Bob's house.
Yeah.
I can be here in 5 minutes. Bob could probably be there in like 7.
Yeah, it's right on the other side.
Right up the road. Jefferson Barracks. Now, the Jefferson Barracks is some old buildings. The main buildings are some old buildings.
Yeah.
You know, this place had a lot of really, really old buildings before in the back.
Yeah.
Along with Jefferson Barracks Hospital, which is right next door, and Jefferson Barracks Cemetery, which is like one of the bigger cemeteries out there as far as veteran cemeteries. You know, in fact, my stepdad is in there.
We go
very
there
big.
probably once or twice a week.
So it is a very, very, very big place.
In the back, the north back part of the Jefferson Barracks is still a National Guard base to this day. Yep. So
yep, that's where
it's still Army.
When I was in PSYOPs, that's where I was at, and then the year that I trained with the MPs was in there.
Yeah.
So, but I think the PSYOP unit moved out, but I think the MP unit is still there.
It's still active Army base right now.
It is.
So,
for sure.
Which is kind of cool when you think about it, because it's on a bluff that overlooks the river. So if any shenanigans
tactical advantage, man.
Like, in a second, there's a battery right there.
Right. Yeah, it was tactical advantage over the river because any boats that would come up the Mississippi, they could fire down onto them.
And there's nowhere you could run.
Yeah.
It's a
like high ground advantage.
Sheer rock wall up to barracks, and then the other side is nothing but sandy swampland.
Yep.
So basically, you could fire cannons down into the Mississippi River, and then whoever was trapped in that section has nowhere they can go.
Yep. So there's a lot of hauntings that go on over there. They say there's a spirit over there of a sentry with a bullet hole through his head.
Oh, I've heard that one.
You know, apparently he still confronts, you know, people in those barracks.
Right.
He still thinks he's on duty. So that's one. Another is a Halloween party at the Veterans Hospital, which, like I said, that's all part of that. That's old. My mom actually used to work there, and she said that she saw things several times over there. I remember her telling me stories. She worked in the psych ward over there.
Oh, okay.
And saw things like she saw people just standing at the end of hallways, and but nobody's there, you know, stuff like that. And you were saying,
yeah, I did a removal there. You know, like we go to pick up a body, you know, from the hospital, and I was just chatting with the guy. They have what they call orderlies, the guys that move people around when they're sick or they got to go get a test or whatever. They take the bed and physically push it down the hallway. Well, he was helping me remove the body, you know, and he was like, we were talking about ghost stuff and, you know, just how spooky the hospital is at night. And he was like, oh yeah, you know, the old part of the hospital is really, really haunted. And at night you can hear like all kinds of stuff, and the staff actually double locks the doors that go out that way because they'll hear people like hit the crash bar at night to open the doors up, you know what I mean? So he was like, hey, if you want to go through there, we can actually leave, you know, the hospital. We'll go through there, and then I can show you how to get to where your van is. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll never pass up a chance to go and see spooky. So you go down. There's a brand new hallway. It looks just like any other hospital. It's all clean and everything's well lit. And then you open these double doors, and then it's like you're in one of those like Ghost Adventures type TV show, where it's dirty, the floor is dirty, all the tiles are all like peeling up, and the paint's peeling, and it's just there's no power, no lights, and it's just like a culture shock, you know, like it's brand new.
Like you walked into the past.
Yeah, on the other side of that door is just abandoned building right there. And we're going down the hallway, and he's like, people see like heads poke out of these walls, and you can see people like in their old hospital outfits where they had like slippers and stuff. You can see them standing in the hallway at night, and that's why they painted the windows that go from the hospital, the new hospital, into that old section, because people would see faces in the windows. In the windows. Yeah, so they had painted the windows black on the other side so that you couldn't see into it anymore, because they got so many complaints of nurses that someone was watching them through the window. So, oh yeah, it was spooky. And the guy was like, I'm actually going to go out this way with you, and then walk around.
Walked you through and then he walked around the parking lot and go back to the building.
So that he didn't have to go back through there alone.
Well, that's like, you know, I've told you guys before about the old, what used to be an asylum up there in North City that's now apartments. Like, everything's all bright and shiny and pretty, and you open the door to the tunnels of the basement,
Right.
and it's like walking back in time. Like,
Yeah.
just old brickwork walls, and, you go walking through there, and the morgue's all back there, and
Oh, yeah.
all that stuff. What's funny is the morgue. You tell it's the morgue because it's, got, the floor has a drain, and it's all, you can tell it used to be the morgue. That's where 90% of the electric meters are in that room. The whole walls are wrapped with electric meters. It's kind of funny that, so you got to figure all that EMF energy pumping in there, and just the room itself is probably a heyday. It's probably a heyday for hauntings and things inside that room. So,
wow.
So I recommend, like, if you guys can get out to any kind of battlefield or anything like that, take a recorder out there. See if you can get some EMFs, or EMFs, EVPs. Not enough caffeine yet this morning. See if you can get some EVPs out there, and hey, take your EMF detector. You might catch, EMFs out there floating around the battlefield.
For the camera, people used to do spirit photography, with the Polaroids. Now you have to kind of get in that mindset, because now people just snap thousands of pictures. They don't care. You just delete it. But back in the day, when a photo cost you like 25 cents a piece, you had more investment in it. That's one of the advice I give a lot of people about taking spirit photography now, because they always say, like, I take 100 pictures in the haunted house, I never get anything. That's because you don't care about it.
Yeah.
You just snap the picture just to try to catch something. You have to have that, get it into your mind that you're going to take a picture of a spirit.
Yep.
That you have that intention into taking the photo, and then you'll get better spirit photos because of that.
And get in that mindset of, like, reaching out and trying to feel what's around you. Just like, it's the same feeling like, when you walk into a crowded place and you can feel like everybody's energy kind of around you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It like overlaps.
That's the kind of feeling you want to get in your mindset, because then you'll feel that spirit energy around you. And I know you and I are both like, I feel I need to take a picture in this direction.
Yeah.
And that's when you usually come up with stuff, because you're feeling that energy in front of you. So, if you get a chance, go out and do these battlefields and stuff like that. They're all over.
A lot of them have like a docent tour where someone will go out there at certain times of the day, and they'll say, this is where, Pickett's charge happened, or this is where you see that photo of the little drummer boy or whatever. It was actually taken right here, and somebody who actually knows can give you more insight into what happened there, and then your ability, will fill in the gaps.
Yep.
So you'll know, like, okay, well, I imagine that because this is like a lowered area, people who are getting shot at are going to want to lay down right here.
Right.
You know what I mean? So then, obviously, there's going to be more energy in a place like that, because you're getting shot at, you're hiding, you're trying to reload this stupid old gun.
Well, you got to remember, too, that, like, so these battles happened, a long time ago, so there was probably trees there that were never there. So don't think, somebody hid behind this tree.
Right.
Well, that tree probably wasn't there at the time. Because, that tree grew in the last 70 years. That tree probably wasn't even there. So don't be thinking the trees are going to help you.
Right, to figure out where the edge of a
battlefield is or whatever.
200-year-old battlefield is.
Right.
Because it doesn't... That tree was probably from an apple that fell out of somebody's pocket.
Right. Well, and not only that, but they would knock down a large area of trees around a fort, because number one, they use the logs to build the fort.
Right.
And number two, if you have a secured fort in the middle of a clearing, you've got open line of sight all the way around your fort.
Right.
So you can see anybody coming, and if they're going to come at you, they got to come at you. And it usually started with artillery fire from the tree line.
Right.
Is usually how the battle started, and then it would be a foot soldier, attack once they broke the wall or whatever. So, fun times. So, you got anything else?
Not really. How long do we go?
Oh, we went pretty good over a half hour, I'm sure.
Oh, nice.
So, we got people coming in last minute, unfortunately.
Yeah. But we can stop the podcast and then do.
So.
Do the TikToks.
So, once again, we thank you guys for joining us down here in the Linden Library at the Veritas Project headquarters.
Yep.
And, thank you for joining us for our Haunted Soldier podcast here on Memorial Weekend. And remember,
stay curious
and find the truth, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
See ya.